The most beautiful love story you'll never believe until you see how it ends. In the small town of Maplewood, love was a whisper away from tragedy. The sun painted the streets in golden hues as people hurried for cover. They knew the storm was coming. Strange occurrences had been growing, like shadows creeping in the night. Accusations of forbidden love rose as folks talked, whispers erupted into scandalous rumors. The townsfolk claimed Clara and Tom were fated, but their passionate romance carried a curse. One morning, Clara woke with a start, a cold sweat clinging to her skin. Eyes wide with terror, she recalled the dream's dark figures drifting through the fog, a voice calling her name, warning her of impending doom. She shivered at the memory. Outside, the leaves fluttered violently against the wind, announcing the change. A low rumble echoed like an omen, and Clara felt a tightness in her chest. Something was wrong. Tom, meanwhile, stood by his window, the storm outside mirroring the turmoil brewing within. He stared into the distance, lost in thought. The townspeople's eyes followed him, they watched every move he made. But nobody understood. His heart raced, a mix of love and fear swirling inside him. How could he protect Clara from the storm? How could he steer them both away from the destiny that shadowed their love? As the rain began to pour, transforming the streets into rivers, Clara took a step outside. Her heart pounded against her ribcage. She needed to see Tom, to hear his voice against the raging storm. Just then, she heard it. A sudden, deafening clap of thunder echoed in the air, sending shivers down her spine. A scream pierced through the noise, and she froze, breath hitching in her throat. Was that a cry of despair? Was it a warning? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. The storm raged on as Clara stumbled through the rain, desperate to reach Tom. Wind whipped around her, pushing her back like a cruel force, but she pressed on. Each step felt heavier, the ground trembling beneath her feet as lightning slashed across the sky. She finally reached his porch, panting, the air thick with tension. Their eyes locked, and for a moment, the storm faded away. But then, the eerie silence shattered. A loud crash echoed through the night, a tree falling mere feet away. What did it mean? Was it a sign? A choice they would soon have to make? Would love prevail, or would the weight of destiny crush their dreams? Questions swirled as the storm continued its fury, leaving the both of them standing on the edge of the unknown. Clara's heart raced, hammering against her chest. Instinctively, she reached for Tom's hand, their fingers lacing together as if they could share warmth against the cold fury of the storm. The air crackled with energy, and she could feel the electricity between them, a palpable connection that made her forget the chaos outside, if only for a moment. What was that? Tom's voice cut through the tension, low and urgent, eyes darting toward the shadows that danced in the heavy rain. I don't know. Clara felt panic creep back in, swelling up her throat. But we can't stay here. We need to find shelter, figure out what's happening. As if responding to her words, the wind howled, twisting and swirling around them, and for a brief flash, Clara thought she saw a figure in the fog, tall and dark, looming over the street like an omen. She blinked, and it was gone, but the oppressive feeling it left behind lingered. The storm wasn't just a storm. It felt alive, like it had a purpose, a malevolent urge to tear their world apart. We should go to my parents' house, Tom urged, squeezing her hand. The sheer urgency in his grip ignited a sense of resolve in her. Okay, let us go. They ran, dodging stray branches and puddles that seemed to swallow their feet. As they raced through the torrent, Clara's mind was a whirlwind of thoughts. The scream she'd heard earlier echoed in her ears. Was someone in danger? Just then, another flash of lightning illuminated the streets, and Clara glimpsed a cluster of townsfolk huddled under the awning of the old bakery. Their faces twisted in concern, they pointed toward the haunting darkness of Maplewood's center. Clara could feel the weight of their gazes, heavy with fear and judgment. "What are they looking at?" she gasped, desperate curiosity pulling her back. Tom's voice was firm yet soothing. "We can't stop now. We need to focus on getting to safety." But even as they picked up speed, Clara felt a tug of fear at the pit of her stomach. What if someone needed help? "I have to know," she said, breaking free from Tom's grasp. Against his protests, she turned and sprinted toward the group. Once there, the look on their faces told her something was very wrong. "What's happening?" she asked, breathless. An elder man shook his head, his eyes glistening with distress. "People are disappearing, Clara. First it was Mrs. Hargrove, now Jamie from the hardware store. No one knows where they went." Clara felt her blood run cold. "What do you mean disappearing? How can they just vanish?" "They say it's the curse," a woman added, her voice trembling. "The curse of forbidden love. Your love is the spark they want, the very thing they're trying to snuff out." A sudden chill swept over Clara, not from the wind but from the fear that settled deep in her bones. It was the very thing Tom had tried to protect her from. The storm wasn't just a storm, it was a reckoning. "Clara!" Tom's voice called urgently through the chaos. She turned to see him struggling against the tempest, desperation etched on his face. She took a step toward him just as another deafening crack of thunder rocked the sky, and a shadow darted past her at lightning speed. Clara's heart dropped. Had she imagined it? But when she looked back, Tom was staring at the spot where the shadow had vanished, his expression a mixture of dread and realization. "We have to go, now." But as they turned to escape, Clara felt something else flicker in her chest, the unmistakable tether of fear and longing. Could the storm truly separate them? Was their love strong enough to fight against the curse? Then, just as her mind began to spiral, the clouds parted momentarily, revealing a dark figure watching from across the street, cloaked in shadows, eyes glinting like knives. "Run!" Clara yelled, yanking on Tom's arm. They bolted into the rain, but the ominous presence loomed closer, and as thunder rumbled behind them, an unsettling thought crept in. Was this the beginning of their fight, or the end of everything they held dear? With every step, the weight of the storm grew heavier. And this time, Clara could feel it, the ominous pulse of fate sealing their paths. Would they break the curse or fall victim to it, lost in the night? The rain fell harder, and as Clara glanced back, the figure drew near, closer and closer, like a dark promise. What awaited them in the shadows? Clara could hear the pounding of her heart echoing in her ears, drowning out the thunder that roared overhead. The rain splashed violently against the ground, bending grass and leaves beneath its relentless assault. As they sprinted, each breath felt like a struggle against the rising tide of fear. Tom's grip was firm, but panic surged through Clara's veins. "Don't look back!" Tom shouted, though she could see the fear mirrored in his eyes. The darkness around them felt alive, crawling with shadows that seemed to reach for them. But Clara couldn't shake the instinct to look just once. Turning her head, she caught another glimmer of movement just behind them, the dark figure weaving through the rain like a ghost, unwavering. It sent ice through her spine, but there was something strangely magnetic about its presence. "Clara!" Tom's voice pierced through her haze. "Keep running." She nodded and pushed herself harder, every muscle screaming in protest. A distant scream echoed through the storm, slicing through the chaos. Was it real? Or just her imagination betraying her? Up ahead, the path blurred under sheets of rain. Streetlights flickered, barely managing to hold on to their light. Clara's focus narrowed on a slice of refuge visible between the trees ahead, the tall silhouette of Tom's parents' old home. A sanctuary, she thought, a place away from the shadows. "We're almost there," she gasped, desperation flooding her words as they sprinted closer. As they reached the porch, Tom stumbled, pulling Clara to a halt. Water cascaded down his face, and his brow knitted in uncertainty. She could see his thoughts racing, the tension between wanting to protect her and the fear of what lay behind them. "What if we shut the door, and it's all for nothing?" he murmured, glancing back into the dark. "What if it follows us?" Clara shook her head fiercely. "We can't think like that. It's just an old house, Tom. We need to get inside." With a nod of reluctant agreement, he stepped forward, but as he reached for the handle, a sharp crack of thunder sent them both jumping back. The front door swung open with a creak that echoed ominously in the storm. "Who's there?" a voice called from the shadows within the house. It was Miss Hargrove, now standing at the threshold. Her hair was disheveled, eyes wide with alarm. "You're not safe here." She's angry. "Wait, what do you mean?" Clara stepped closer, confusion rising within her. "Who's angry? Who's coming?" The old woman hesitated, glancing back over her shoulder as if expecting something to reach out from the shadows. "The storm, it brings her. Your love has stirred something deep. She is here for you." Before Clara could understand the weight of Miss Hargrove's words, the air thickened, suffocating with dread. Clara felt it something darker looming just behind. An utter chill settled around them, but it wasn't the cold of the storm. It was something far more sinister. "Quick!" Tom urged, grabbing Clara's hand. "We can't stay here. We need to." The lights flickered violently, plunging the porch into darkness. The rasp of air shifted, and suddenly, all noise ceased, no wind, no rain. Just an eerie stillness that made Clara's skin crawl. Then a soft whisper floated from the shadows, chilling her to the bone. "You shouldn't have come back." In that moment, all the warmth of her thoughts unraveled, replaced by the stark realization that whatever was chasing them wasn't just a storm. It was something ancient, something relentless. Clara faced the house filled with mystery and uncertainty, knowing they might have just trapped themselves in the very heart of the storm. Tom's voice trembled, pulling her focus back. "What do we do now?" As footsteps echoed off the walls within, Clara's heart beat louder than the thunder outside. The shadow was closing in, and the pull of fate was stronger than ever. Would they uncover the truth lurking in the dark, or would the storm consume them whole? Clara's throat tightened as the descending chill sank deeper into her bones. She felt like a ghost herself, forgotten in a house where time had stopped, and it felt as if they were caught between two worlds, the fear outside and the unknown within. "Miss Hargrove, what do you mean?" Clara's voice shook, but she forced it through gritted teeth. Every instinct in her body screamed to get away, but she was rooted to the spot. The shadows around them pulsed with a dark energy. The girl she didn't leave. "She's been waiting," Miss Hargrove said, her gaze darting over Clara's shoulder. The old woman's hands trembled, and Clara noticed how her knuckles were white, gripping the doorframe like it was her only lifeline. Tom stepped closer, protective. "We need to know what's happening." "What girl?" His voice rose, panic spilling into his words. "She was like you once," Miss Hargrove whispered, her voice frail as if it could shatter. "She loved deeply, and she thought she could escape." "Escape from what?" Clara demanded, feeling every ounce of her patience fray. She glanced back, the oppressive darkness seemed to thicken around them, waiting. "That which craves her, your heart has stirred it again, Clara." With a high-pitched crackle, a surge of energy flared from behind. The lights flickered back to life, but instead of illuminating comfort, they revealed something disturbing. The walls of the entryway seemed to breathe unevenly, stirring with palpable unease. "Tom." Clara's eyes widened as the very shadows deepened, rippling as if animated by the tension. He moved in closer, squeezing her hand, their shared fear binding them. "Maybe we can find a way to protect ourselves." Suddenly, the distorted whispers filled the air, penetrative and urgent. Stay with us." Clara recoiled, eyes darting around. The darkness now appeared to ripple with hundreds of unseeing eyes, a legion of lost souls entreating her. Each heartbeat echoed louder, as though the house itself pulsed with a heartbeat of its own, creating an oppressive rhythm that ignited the thrumming of her fear. "Clara!" Miss Hargrove cried out, her voice raw with desperation. "Get inside. You must find the truth before it claims you both." But Clara hesitated, caught in the moment, her heart wrestling against her instincts. "Tom, we can't just go in there." The whispers intensified, drawing her gaze. "Love will set you free. Her love has condemned you, Clara. Let us go," Tom urged, desperation shattering the last fragments of her resolve. They stumbled inside together, into the flickering light, hearts trailing shadows behind them. As they entered, the door slammed shut with a violent thud, echoing throughout the dimly lit corridor behind them. Clara jumped, whirling around. "Did you see that?" Tom breathed out, looking pale. "Yes." Clara's breath was heavy, panic squeezing her chest. "We need to find a way out now," Miss Hargrove shouted, surprise slicing through the air. "You must face it. You cannot run. It's already here." The dark energy surged forth, and suddenly, the walls confided many decades of sorrow. An unearthly figure flickered into sight, a beautiful girl with hollow eyes, ethereal and consuming. "You shouldn't have come back." It was in that breathless moment, the air electrified with tension. Clara felt her heart stop, dread wrapping around her like a noose. Who was this girl? What was the truth that bound them all together? And then, an unsettling realization washed over her. "What did you do?" she whispered, the words strangled, intertwining with her thoughts like coiled vines. The girl smiled, but it was a smile forged from pain and longing. "I did what love commanded, and now you must too." Clara shuddered at the weight of these words. In that instant, she understood just how precarious their situation truly was. The storm raged outside, tethering them to something dark. Would they uncover the truth, or would the price of love demand their very souls? As shadows lunged, pulsing with energy, Clara's heart raced faster than ever before. They had crossed a line, and now there was no turning back. The storm was closing in, and they were at its mercy. How could they escape the past, when the future was already shadowed in their decisions? As the whispers grew louder, drowning her thoughts, one question loomed overhead: was love powerful enough to save them, or would it destroy them completely? Clara pressed her back against the cold wall, desperate to find an anchor in the chaos swirling around her. The girl's hollow eyes bored into her very soul, and with each passing second, the darkness thickened like a suffocating fog. Miss Hargrove's voice broke through the panic, her urgent whispers mingling with the dark energy that surged in veins through the house. "Clara, listen. The love you share is intertwined with her fate. It is the key to breaking this cycle." Tom's grip tightened on Clara's hand, his eyes darting between the girl and the old woman. "What does that mean? We can't just stand here." "I wish I could be as brave," Clara murmured, feeling the weight of an unseen force urging her to flee. Yet, there was something in the girl's gaze, a deep familiarity, perhaps a connection that transcended the veil of fear. "Find her heart, Clara," Miss Hargrove shouted, her voice layered with desperation. "If you truly love, it can break the curse." "Heart?" Clara's mind raced, each thought colliding with another, stoking her confusion. "Whose heart? What are you talking about?" The girl stepped forward, her ethereal form shimmering with an otherworldly glow. "You will see." Her voice floated like a haunting melody, wrapping around Clara's senses. "When you find me, you will understand." Clara's pulse thudded in her ears, drowning out the relentless whispers that surrounded them. "Understand what?" she questioned, every instinct screaming to retreat. But a deeper part of her resisted, pulling her toward the girl, compelled by something lost yet familiar. Suddenly, a sharp crack echoed through the corridor, reverberating like a gunshot. The lights flickered wildly, dimming, and with each flicker, Clara felt a dizzying sense of déjà vu wash over her. The shadows became a swirling vortex, palpable and alive. We need to get out of here, Tom shouted, panic drawing him closer as he pulled Clara towards the staircase. Stay, came a voice from the shadows, powerful and commanding. Clara's heart ricocheted against her ribcage. It was as if the house itself was alive, weaving a spell designed to ensnare them. No, Clara cried out, wrenching her hand free from Tom's grasp. We can't leave. I need to understand. The girl watched, her gaze softening, an echo of longing in her eyes. You're stronger than you know. With that sudden affirmation, the air shifted. Clara's fears wavered, replaced by a spark of courage igniting within. I need to do this for her, she whispered, though the realization frightened her even more. Clara! Tom shouted, his voice now laced with urgency and betrayal. You can't trust her. Can't you feel it? Clara shot back, searching Tom's eyes for understanding. This isn't just about us. There's something trapped here, something that needs release. As their connection severed, the unseen power surged forward, intertwining with Clara's heart. Memories flooded back a long-buried sadness, a promise once whispered in the dark. It was hers and yet, it was not. What is this? Clara gasped, trying to hold on to the fleeting moments of clarity. Why does it feel so real? The girl's form shimmered, and everything crashed around them. Fragments of light and shadow bounced against the walls. The specters in the darkness seemed to reach out, driven by an insatiable need, pulling at the edges of Clara's consciousness. Find the heart before it's too late. At Miss Hargrove's words, Clara acted, propelled into the heart of shadows. A hidden door loomed ahead, cracked open just a sliver, beckoning her forward. Wait, Clara. Tom's voice seemed far away, swallowed by the echoing distance. Stepping through the door, Clara plunged into a world of swirling memories, the pulse of the house thrumming in time with her own heart. She felt lost within her own storm, questions colliding in a dizzying whirl. But here, in the chaos, something glimmered through the shadows, a radiant light, pulsing steadily, leading her deeper into the unknown. Love will set you free, the words breathed through the air, wrapping around her like a locket, heavy with weight and expectation, and Clara knew, even before she reached for it, that the truth awaited her. But was she truly ready to face what it would reveal? The luminescent heart lay ahead, and with it, answers that could either mend or shatter everything. But behind her, the door trembled, and an ominous presence threatened to close in fast. Would she uncover the truth before getting lost within the shadows? Or would love, the very thing meant to save her, become her destruction? Clara's heart raced as she moved towards the radiant light. Each pulse of the luminescent heart reverberated deep within her, echoing her own anxiety and hope. It was as if the very essence of love called out to her, drawing her closer while the shadows behind her twisted and lurked, hungry for something, a secret, a soul, perhaps her own. She didn't dare look back. The air thickened and crackled with electricity, the whispers morphing into an agonizing chorus, a rush of long-forgotten voices crying out in despair. Their anguish wrapped around her, squeezing harder with each step she took towards the heart's glow. Clara felt her resolve strengthening. She wasn't just walking toward a light, she was stepping into her destiny, and just as her fingertips reached for the warmth, the shadows lunged. Dark tendrils snaked toward her, pulling her back, grabbing at her limbs as she struggled. Clara! Tom's voice sliced through the tumult, raw with fear. She could feel his desperation lighting a fire under her skin. Don't let go! She screamed, realizing in that moment how deep their connection ran. Remembering Ms. Hargrove's words, she closed her eyes, praying to find the strength buried deep within her. I can't abandon her. The ethereal glow intensified, flooding her senses with a calming warmth, reminiscent of childhood memories and forgotten dreams. You have to believe, the girl's voice whispered through the maelstrom, a comforting balm against the chaos. With renewed determination, Clara yanked her arms away from the cold grasp of the shadows, her heart's rhythm syncing with the pulsing light. She dove forward, igniting a radiant burst of energy that burst forth like fireworks in the night sky. The shadows shrieked, recoiling as if scalded by her resolve. She broke through the barrier, and everything changed. She stood before the luminous heart, its glow filling the room with a blinding light that pushed back the darkness. Clara reached out, drawn to its pulsing rhythm, feeling an overwhelming surge of emotions. Love, loss, hope, despair, they all merged, swirling around her in a vibrant tapestry of existence. Suddenly, a figure materialized beside the heart, solid and yet spectral, translucent yet undeniably present. It was the girl, her face contorted with emotion, sadness mingling with gratitude. "Help me, Clara," the girl pleaded, her voice resonating deep within Clara's soul. "Help me find peace." An intense realization surged through Clara. This was no ordinary plea. It was a cry from the depths of a curse, a bond that tied their fates together in a web of heartache. Only Clara's love could sever those ties and free the girl. But would that action seal her own fate? With trembling hands, Clara grasped the heart, the warmth blossoming against her palms, far more potent than anything she'd ever known. Memories flooded back, a brilliant sunlight breaking through clouds, laughter echoing in the distance, and whispers of love that transcended loss. She understood, the truth washing over her in waves. Love wasn't just a feeling, it was a force, but before she could respond, a bone-chilling whisper crept in, curling around her mind like smoke. "You will lose everything." With the words came chaos, shadows swirling, becoming a curtain of terror closing in from all sides. "Not this time!" Clara shouted against the darkness, gathering all her strength. "Your chains are broken." The connection between Clara and the girl tightened, the light enveloping them both in a cocoon of serenity. Then Clara pressed her forehead against the heart, calling out the love within her, the one shared through despair and hope. In that moment, she felt the girl's spirit intertwine with her own, a bond forged in a past neither truly remembered, but just as they emerged, something cracked, releasing a surge of despair that sent them collapsing into the shadows. Clara's eyes widened as she faced the dark presence that had been lurking, stronger than before, its malice intertwining with her own heart. "Is this what love brings?" she thought, fear choking her. "Or is it the beginning of the end?" The dark entity roared, and Clara knew she had one last chance. If she wanted to save both of them, she had to confront the truth, a truth that could easily destroy everything she held dear. "Will love save us or destroy us?" Clara breathed, feeling the weight of the choice hanging in the air, ready to pull her under. Clara felt the darkness pressing in, suffocating and thick, as if it were alive, with claws ready to snatch away her dreams. The air crackled, drowning out the steady beat of her heart. Panic rippled through her. She was racing against time, against shadows that could swallow her whole. "Clara!" Tom's voice was a frail lifeline, pulling at her with urgency. She felt his presence right behind her, a solid anchor in the tempest. "Focus. You have to finish this." The girl beside the heart flickered as if the shadows seeped into her. "Don't let them win, Clara. You are stronger than this." The pleading in her eyes ignited a fire within Clara. It wasn't just her destiny on the line, it was theirs. Clara squeezed her eyes shut for a moment, centering herself. Love is a force, she reminded herself. It's a weapon against the darkness. She could feel the warmth of the heart still throbbing in her palms, urging her onward. With a fierce shout, she opened her eyes, reaching for the light, for the girl, who was still trapped in a dance of sorrow. The shadows howled, trying to drag her back, each shriek sending tremors through her body. But Clara's resolve surged. She pushed through the fear, letting love's warmth envelop her once more. "I love you," she screamed at the heart, and in that moment, she let her emotions explode like a supernova. The light intensified, splitting the shadows, and she could see the darkness recoiling, hissing with anger. Clara felt the connection bind tighter, her heartbeat syncopated with the girl beside her, each pulse a declaration of hope. Suddenly, the darkness twisted and writhed, wrapping cold tendrils around her yet again, but this time, there was something different about it. The shadows froze momentarily before a deep, guttural laugh echoed through the void. You think you can save her? With your love? Foolish girl. The darkness took shape, forming a grotesque figure that towered above her, swirling with anger. The eyes of the entity flickered with malice, shining like dying stars. It was the embodiment of every fear, every doubt that Clara had ever faced. You're in over your head. It sneered, and the room vibrated with its disdain. Let her go. Clara shouted back, squaring her shoulders. The heartbeat of the luminous heart surged into her, feeding her courage. In that instant, she realized something crucial. You can't hold us captive anymore because love isn't about possession. It's about freedom. The figure recoiled, and Clara pressed forward, her hands digging deeper into the luminosity. She deserves peace. And I'll fight for it. With each declaration, shadows began to peel back, dissipating like smoke before the sun. The darkness rumbled, a cacophony of desperate growls, but Clara wouldn't yield. She didn't just see the girl as a victim anymore, she was a sister in arms, bound together by their struggles. Suddenly, the girl shimmered brighter. Take my hand, Clara. She urged, extending her fingers. Unexpectedly, the darkness recoiled even further, a palpable fear reverberating through its form. Clara reached out, intertwining her fingers with the ethereal girl. Then came a split second of calm. The room quieted, the shadows hesitating as light exploded from their clasp. Clara gasped at the force they summoned together. It wasn't just her love. It was a combined strength that surged into the atmosphere, a testament that darkness could never triumph where this kind of love resided, but as the last shadows screamed, retreating into oblivion, Clara's heart sank. What did I lose? She wondered, a nagging chill settling in her chest. The light flickered, and the girl's form began to fade into the warmth, a moment of glimmering hope wrenched away. As the brightness dimmed, a lingering whisper echoed, reminding Clara of the entity's promise. Everything, will you really let her go? Clara's breath caught, her heart sinking deeper. She had to choose, but at what cost? As the glow dulled, she stood at a haunting crossroads, and the shadows lurked, ready to pounce once more. What price would she pay for love? Would she sacrifice it all or find a way through? Clara's mind raced, each possibility spiraling like a fistful of fireflies in the night, wild and chaotic. Fear clawed at her insides, wrestling with the heart's warmth that still pulsed in her hands. She could feel the pull of the darkness lurking just at the edge of her consciousness. It whispered insidiously, pricking her confidence, offering sinister bargains wrapped in silky promises, but she fought to silence it. Let her go. She shouted again, grounding herself in that command. She focused on the girl beside her, no longer merely a flickering specter but a powerful ally, a beacon of light. Together, we can do this. The shadows roared, a wave of dread threatening to drown her again. Clara saw the grotesque figure shift and twist, its form growing denser, more threatening. It was relentless, pushing against her thoughts, whispering doubts that gnawed at her determination. You are unworthy of this love, the darkness hissed, voice like ice. You will fail. They always do. Clara took a deep breath, feeling the weight of Tom's presence behind her. She clung to his energy, focusing fiercely on the love they shared. No. She cried out, tightening her grip on the glowing heart. I won't let you win. We were made for this. With each word, the luminous heart pulsed brighter, a counterpoint to the suffocating gloom that threatened to consume them. Memories flooded Clara's mind, sunset drives with Tom, laughter shared over coffee, moments that stitched them together in love. This was her foundation. Love was not just a fleeting emotion, it was a fortress. Clara, you have to break its hold. Tom encouraged, his voice steady, unwavering. Together. Clara echoed, turning to the girl, whose eyes brimmed with newfound energy. We can banish this darkness. We are the light. They stood shoulder to shoulder, a united front against despair. The shadows let out a piercing shriek as their combined strength began to claw at the darkness. Clara could feel the air crackle with electricity. It was a confrontation fueled by the essence of their very beings, raw, unhindered devotion sweeping through like a wildfire. The entity emitted a furious growl, and Clara felt the ground shift beneath her feet. Clinging to the moment, she closed her eyes and pictured a world free of this torment where love reigned supreme, untainted by fear. Feel it, Clara urged, her heart pounding in sync with the girl's. What do we have to lose? There was a shimmering glow that ignited the space around them, forcing the grotesque figure to stagger backward. For a brief instant, the darkness thinned, revealing the wild lights whirling above them like stars desperate for freedom. Clara was entranced. Would the light triumph? But then she sensed it, a churn in the air, a surge of malicious intent. The shadows were regrouping, gnarled fingers stretching out, ready to reach for their hearts, to snatch away any shred of hope ignited within them. The laughter returned, echoing through the void. You like to believe you can control this? How naive, it taunted, the voice thick with disdain. Clara opened her eyes, and in that moment, she recognized what she needed to do. I will choose love, she declared, her voice unwavering, her resolve mirroring the heartbeat of the heart in her palms. As she prepared to unleash her emotions fully, a shiver of uncertainty ran through her. What would this choice mean? What if the love that strengthened her would also tear her apart? Before she could hesitate further, the shadows charged forward again. Clara stood firm, ready to face the consequences head-on, but the thundering darkness was upon her. A heartbeat, just one still moment, and then everything exploded around them. Would she lose herself in the process, or find something she never expected? What awaited beyond the shadows? The darkness gained ground as Clara screamed. What price would she pay to ensure their love would not be extinguished? The world shattered like glass around Clara, each fragment cutting through the silence with a sharpness that echoed in her bones. She felt the weight of the darkness crash against her, a tsunami of cold despair that threatened to pull her under. But in that chaos, a spark ignited within her, something pure and bright that demanded to be released. Together. The girl at her side echoed Clara's resolve, and suddenly, their hands intertwined, a delicate but fierce bond forming between them. The glow from their connection surged, pushing back against the encroaching shadows, illuminating the space around them with a fierce brilliance that turned fear into strength. Focus on what you love, Clara yelled over the cacophony of darkness. Images flooded her mind: Tom's unwavering smile, the safety of his arms, the way time stood still when they were together. They weren't just memories, they were bullets of hope, fired directly into the heart of the chaos. The grotesque figure writhed, a grotesque mask of fury as it recoiled from the flickering light. Clara felt the surge of power course through her veins, the heat of love battling the icy grip of despair. We can win this, she thought, the determination blooming like wildflowers pressing through cracks in concrete, but the shadows clawed back, reaching hungrily toward her. The voices, they twisted and turned, whispering temptations that could unravel her resolve. You're nothing without your pain, they laughed. You will never be free. Love will betray you. No, Clara shouted. Her voice was a shield. It's stronger than you will ever know. Her heart raced as she felt the girl beside her pull on her strength, a tether anchoring them against the tide of darkness. The heart pulsed, matching their breaths, thrumming with life. Beneath her feet, the ground trembled. Clara narrowed her eyes, standing defiantly against the wave of shadows. This was not just a battle for her, every soul touched by love stood with her, emboldening her spirit. Their courage formed a legion, pushing back against isolation and fear. The grotesque entity formed into a mass of writhing shadows, anger twisting its features into something unrecognizable. It lunged forward, and Clara felt an icy tendril wrap around her wrist, squeezing tightly, claws digging deep into her skin. Let me go, she screamed, tearing at the pain. The darkness swirled, laughter ringing out as she felt its confidence. Yet she clung harder to the heart, pulling the girl closer. Remember why we fight. A wave of warmth surged through her, chasing the chilling fingers away for just a moment. And for that moment, amidst the chaos, they found clarity. Clara saw a path, a light that seemed to beckon them beyond the looming shadows. Let us do it. With that, they took a step forward. The heart burned brighter, and an almost musical resonance filled the space, echoing off the dark walls closing in on them. Clara focused on embracing every ounce of love, every joy, and every moment that defined them. She poured her soul into the surge, the warmth enveloping her, daring the darkness to push back. Then, with a final unyielding scream from the core of her being, Clara unleashed everything she held dear. The light exploded, a fiery burst that sent out ripples of brilliance, tearing through the suffocating shadows like a scythe through straw. But as the light expanded, Clara sensed a twist. The darkness flickered, revealing new shapes, silhouettes morphing into something horrifyingly familiar. Faces she once knew, those lost to the shadows. Clara's heart plummeted. What had she unleashed? The price of her love was steep, and still, questions lingered. Would she discover the truth about those she thought gone, or had her actions awakened a deeper malevolence? As the shadows buckled under the radiant glow, a whisper echoed in the void, "You think this is the end? You have only begun to unravel the truth." The storm outside finally stilled, as if caught within the cocoon of light Clara had unleashed. Silence enveloped the room, thick and heavy, yet undeniably charged, the air buzzing with anticipation. Clara stood at the center of it all, heart racing, breath coming in fast, shallow gasps. Where shadows had once lurked, now lay an echo of warmth, a stark contrast to the chill that had surrounded her moments ago. Clara. Tom's voice emerged as a beacon through the haze, steady and sure, filled with concern and hope. He stepped forward, hands outstretched. "Are you okay?" "What happened?" Flashes of light pulsed around them, and Clara could feel the lingering presence of the girl she had fought alongside. I think I did it, Tom," she shouted, tears streaming down her face, mixing with the warmth of the heart that still pulsed in her palms. But with that light came memories, fragments of lives entwined with her own, dredging up pain interwoven with love. Faces shimmered in the rays, all the people from Maplewood that had vanished, now not just shadows but echoes of longing. "Clara, look," Tom gasped, pointing at the radiant heart, which pulsed brighter as more figures materialized within the sphere of light. Each lost soul emerged, connecting with the ethereal remainder. They were trapped souls, seeking refuge from the bonds of past decisions. Clara's heart broke anew. The girl she's been waiting to be freed, Miss Hargrove's voice emerged gently, soft but strong. She tied herself to the love and pain surrounding Maplewood, but you, Clara, you have the strength to break that. The girl's form solidified, sadness etched into her features, a mirroring of Clara's own turmoil. "It was a terrible sacrifice," she whispered with raw sadness. "But I knew love could transcend this darkness." The others nodded, surrounding Clara, giving her the strength she needed. "It's time to set you free," Clara declared, the weight of love coursing through her. With each passing moment, she understood more profoundly what love could accomplish. Moving forward, Clara reached out toward the girl, feeling the connection pulse with an undeniable energy. "Tell me what I need to do." "Let go," the girl urged, her hollow eyes lighting, casting a soft glow. "Let go of your fears and trust that love always prevails. Only then will we all find peace." Clara nodded, her chest tightening with the acknowledgement of truth. She had feared so much, the loss and the curse that loomed large over them. But with that realization came clarity, a freeing light. "I choose to embrace love," Clara proclaimed. "For all of us." As she spoke those words, the heart in her hands ignited one last time, sending out a shockwave of brilliance that rippled through the space. The darkness around them shimmered, twisted violently, and began to dissolve. With a final, heart-stilled breath, Clara released her hold on the heart. In that moment, a blinding beam shot outward, enveloping the girl and every lost soul, lifting them into the atmosphere, the love they had longed for, breaking the chains of their sorrow. "Goodbye," the girl whispered, her voice a soothing song. "Thank you." A wave of warmth washed over Clara as the girl faded into the light, a bittersweet ending, but the promise of peace blossomed among the shimmering souls. Clara felt her heart swell with freedom for the first time, knowing that their sacrifices weren't in vain. "Come on." Tom's face illuminated with hope as the last remnants of darkness dissolved into shimmering light. He took her hand, and they stepped forward together, feeling lighter than ever before. As they crossed the threshold of the house, the storm was gone, leaving the first rays of dawn breaking through the clouds, casting a golden glow over Maplewood. The village lay tranquil, the air fragrant with the scent of renewal. Clara felt a weight lift off her shoulders, a lifting of burdens untold. The townsfolk emerged, their faces filled with awe and relief at the change. Clara smiled at them, recognizing that the curse had been broken. Their love had ignited a change, the darkness replaced with the richness of shared stories and connections rekindled. Clara's heart danced with new beginnings. She turned to Tom, their fingers intertwined like threads woven into a tapestry of fate. "We did it," she whispered, and he nodded, the love between them surging with an intensity that would never falter again. As they walked hand in hand down the path, Clara turned her face toward the rising sun, feeling the warmth spread through her. In that moment, she knew love would always guide them forward. Their journey had been a wild storm, but now, they stood together as pillars of hope, ready for whatever the future might bring. Love had prevailed, now it was time to live. Don't miss the next exclusive stories. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you won't be left behind. This is the moment to show your support, so smash that like button now and feed the algorithm. I want to hear your reactions and theories about this ending. Flood the comments section. And call on your friends to join this incredible journey. Instantly share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. You need to take action now. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel, so don't wait even one more second.